and no one bothered to tell these folks. And in reality, the rules have changed. It started with technology and automation that rendered entire occupations obsolete. When was the last time anybody here stood in line for the bank teller instead of going to the ATM or talked to a switchboard operator? Then it continued when companies like Maytag were able to pick up and move their factories to some underdeveloped country where workers were a lot cheaper than they are in the United States. As Tom Friedman points out in his new book, The World is Flat, over the last decade or so, these forces, technology and globalization, have combined like never before. So that while most of us have been paying attention to how much easier technology has made our own lives, sending emails back and forth on our BlackBerries, surfing the web on our cell phones, instant messaging with friends across the world, a quiet revolution has been breaking down barriers and connecting the world's economies. Now business not only has the ability to move jobs wherever there's a factory, but wherever there's an internet connection. Countries like India and China realize this. They understand that they no longer need be just a source of cheap labor or cheap exports. They can compete with us on a global scale. The one resources they needed were skilled, educated workers. So they started schooling their kids earlier, longer, with a greater emphasis on math and science and technology, until their most talented students realized they don't have to come to America to have a decent life. They can stay right where they are. The result? China is graduating 4 times the number of engineers that the United States is graduating. Not only are those Maytag employees competing with Chinese and Indian and Indonesian and Mexican workers, you are too. Today, accounting firms are emailing your tax returns to workers in India who will figure them out and send them back to you as fast as any worker in Illinois or Indiana could. When you lose your luggage in Boston at an airport, tracking it down may involve a call to an agent in Bangalore who will find it by making a phone call to Baltimore. Even the Associated Press has outsourced some of their jobs to writers all over the world who can send in a story at a click of a mouse. As Prime Minister Tony Blair has said, in this new economy, talent is the 21st century wealth. If you've got skills, you've got education, and you have the opportunity to upgrade and improve both, you'll be able to compete and win anywhere. If not, the fall will be further and harder than it ever was before. So what do we do about this? How does America find its way in this new global economy? What will our place in history be? Like so much of the American story, once again we face a choice. Once again, there are those who believe that there isn't much we can do about this as a nation. That the best idea is to give everyone one big refund on their government. Divvy it up by individual portions in the form of tax breaks, hand it out, encourage everyone to use their share to go buy their own health care, their own retirement plan, their own child care, their own education, and so on. In Washington, they call this the ownership society. But in our past, there's been another term for it. Social Darwinism. Every man or woman for him or herself. It's a tempting idea because it doesn't require much thought or ingenuity. It allows us to say that those whose health care or tuition may rise faster than they can afford, tough luck. It allows us to say to the Maytag workers who've lost their job, life isn't fair. It lets us say to the child who's born into poverty, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And it's especially tempting because each of us believes we will always be the winner in life's lottery. That we're the ones who will be the next Donald Trump. Or at least we won't be the chump who Donald Trump says, you're fired. But there's a problem. It won't work. It ignores our history. It ignores the fact that it's been government research and investment that made the railways possible and the internet possible. It's been the creation of a massive middle class through decent wages and benefits and public schools that allowed us all to prosper. Our economic dependence depended on individual initiative. It depended on a belief in the free market, but it also depended on our sense of mutual regard for each other. The idea that everybody has a stake in the country, that we're all in it together, and that everybody's got a shot at opportunity. That's what's produced our unrivaled political stability. And so, if we do nothing in the face of globalization, more people will continue to lose their health care. Fewer kids will be able to afford the diploma you're about to receive. More companies like United Airlines won't be able to provide pensions for their employees. And those Maytag workers will be joined in the unemployment line by any worker whose skills can be bought and sold on the global market. So today I'm here to tell you what most of you already know. This is not us, the option that I just mentioned, doing nothing. It's not how our story ends. Not in this country. America is a land of big dreamers and big hopes. It's this hope that sustained us through revolution and civil war, depression and world war, a struggle for civil and social rights, and the brink of nuclear crisis. And it's because our dreamers dreamed that we have emerged from each challenge more united, more prosperous, and more admired than before. So let's dream. Instead of doing nothing or simply defending 20th century solutions, let's imagine together what we could do to give every American a fighting chance in the 21st century. What if we prepared every child in America with the education and skills they need to compete in a new economy? If we made sure that college was affordable for everyone who wanted to go? If we walked up to those Maytag workers and we said, your old job is not coming back, but the new job will be there because we're going to seriously retrain you and there's lifelong education that's waiting for you, the sorts of opportunities that Knox has created with the Strong Futures Scholarship Program. What if no matter where you worked or how many times you switched jobs, you had health care and a pension that stayed with you always? So you all had the flexibility to move to a better job or start a new business. What if instead of cutting budgets for research and development and science, we fueled the genius and innovation that will lead to the new jobs and new industries of the future? Right now, all across America, there are amazing discoveries being made. If we supported these discoveries on a national level, if we committed ourselves to investing in these possibilities, just imagine what it could do for a town like Galesburg. 10 or 20 years down the road, that old Maytag plant could reopen its doors as an ethanol refinery that turned corn into fuel. Down the street, a biotechnology research lab could open up on the cusp of discovering a cure for cancer. And across the way, a new auto company could be busy churning out electric cars. The new jobs created would be filled by American workers trained with new skills and a world-class education. All of that is possible, but none of it will come easy. Every one of us is going to have to work more, read more, train more, think more. We'll have to slough off some bad habits, like driving gas guzzlers that weaken our economy and feed our enemies abroad. Our children will have to turn off the TV set once in a while and put away the video games and start hitting the books. We'll have to reform institutions like the public schools that were designed for an earlier time. Republicans will have to recognize our collective responsibilities, even as Democrats recognize that we have to do more than just defend old programs. It won't be easy, but it can be done. It can be our future. We have the talent and resources and brain power, but now we need the political will. We need a national commitment.